Well, I can reveal that on I think it's just been confirmed that I think it's the 29th of November. We're going to be playing the O2 Academy in Oxford.
Get Radio Breakfast with Rich Smith.
Yes, it's Band Week here at Get Radio, and we are shining a light on some of the wonderful, magnificent and brilliant bands that are across the county. And one such band that I'm probably looking forward to having a conversation with right now is Lunar Kites. We've got Tim from the band. Morning, Tim. How are you?
Morning, Rich. Very good, thank you. I've got my coffee.
now, this is an ever-going problem. When we do Band Week, the most important factor is the coffee. Says everyone. And you go, oh yeah, we're doing an interview at breakfast. Oh, that breakfast. That must mean sort of pre-9 o'clock. It is pre-9 o'clock. Yes, it is. But thanks for joining us this morning. I really appreciate it. Let's just kind of introduce you. Let's introduce you to a brand new audience at breakfast. Tell us all about Lunar Kites, where you've come from, the music, and kind of where you're at.
Wow. Well, Lunar Kites. Yeah. So I'd say we're about 2 years old now. We formed in 2023, and I put an ad out locally for looking for some musicians, because I'd finished work, I'd stopped working, and I was trying to work out what to do with my life. And I thought, well, I could either get another job, or perhaps I could form a rock band. And that seemed like a much better idea. So I went back. I went right back to like when I was thinking about what I used to enjoy when I was a teenager. I played in bands, and one of the first bands I ever saw was Hawkwind, and I've been into sort of science fiction and all that kind of thing, and it all left an indelible mark on me. And all these years later, I thought, I really want to be in a band again. So yeah, put an ad out, and got responses from all these wonderful guys, and we've it took a few months to get the right people together, and then I'd say about 2 years ago we had the lineup that we've got now. And we didn't have a name or anything like that at that point, but anyway, we started rehearsing, and wanted to sort of form this space rock band, and that's how it's kind of evolved.
I'm laughing because it's a brilliant story. It's absolutely brilliant. It's that kind of thing of going, actually, do you know what? It's time for me to form a space rock band. I think that is so amazing, and more power to you to kind of going there and kind of doing that. It's an amazing thing, and kind of getting the sort of the band sort of like-minded people together. Look, I'm going to do you a massive disservice and say it feels a little bit like you were in charge of your own X Factor. By sort of piecing together bits and bobs of the band. I'm not comparing it to One Direction, and not just yet, anyway. But just sort of forming those elements to create the band that you want. That must be a unique kind of process, because I mean, you have, if you're putting ads out to sort of people and kind of getting responses and kind of going, oh yes, I play guitar, but I'm more into the indie side of stuff, and you're like, well, okay, well, the Hawkwind and sort of space rock and sort of maybe sort of the German sounding space stuff from what have you, that sound, it must be quite an interesting process to sort of whittle down, go and kind of have this settled lineup that you've got now.
Well, I mean, I have to admit, I think the original ad that I put out said something like, I know this is a long shot, and that's how it started. And in fact, because Jason, who's guitarist in the band, he found that ad. He sent it around on the band's WhatsApp chat the other day. Brilliant. And it was funny to see it. And it's just amazing that it got a response, and it did get a response. And literally the people who responded are now in the band, and it was so exciting to see that happen. And we all get on so well, and none of us had ever met before, and so it's just been this amazing journey into space, you might say.
So, and you touched on this, and for those that aren't kind of familiar with the kind of space rock arm of rock music, you touched on it. It's heavily influenced by science fiction. I saw there was a Doctor Who kind of preview song and what have you that was doing the rounds, and that kind of that sci-fi sound which it's quite people might not associate sci-fi with sound, but it's actually as important. You go back to any of those kind of shows that were sort of 70s around there, and the idea of space, yes, visually, but also that all of the sounds influenced and still influence, obviously, you guys to this day.
Yeah, I think space rock. People often say, what is space rock, and it's I suppose in the sort of in musical history, it kind of had its roots in like early Pink Floyd, and obviously Hawkwind are the sort of the big sort of space rock band that started it all, really. But it's very, I suppose it's part of the progressive rock genre. And the beauty of all that is that you can actually do anything. So you can have really hard rock. You can have like almost sort of metal, the metal end. But you can also have this real gentle stuff. You can have guitars. You can have synths. And so we use all that. We put in synths and guitar, and our output is very varied. And people often say, wow, well, none of your songs are actually the same. It's every song is very, very different. Yeah. And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, that is the uniqueness. And I know you've touched on Hawkwind a few times, but actually, I mean, for me, the stuff that I like from Hawkwind and that kind of area of sort of space rock, it is the sort of the atmospheric stuff. It is the bits where it's kind of like, you're just noodling away on a synth for ages, and the guitar parts are coming in, and you kind of just lose yourself into this atmosphere of sound, rather than maybe some of the more popular sort of Hawkwind tunes and what have you, which are much more sort of in your face rock music, if you will. And I guess that license to do that, and touching on Pink Floyd as well, just having an open book and going, today we will play fast. Today we'll slow everything down. Today we'll have no drums. Today we will have all the drums. That fluidity must be very exciting.
Yeah, and that's how often our rehearsals start. We, we all kind of start plugging in and getting the gear ready, and then we might just start something going, and it kind of can go on for about 25 minutes. But we often record things because sometimes the magic happens in there, and so some of our songs have kind of come out of those sorts of jams where we just sort of start doing something, and so the stuff we're playing now, that's how it evolved.
And speaking, beautifully segued. Speaking of now, where do we find the band now? I know the recent EP jumped on streaming services and what have you a couple of months back, or a month ago, and gigs and what have you this summer have been plentiful as well.
Yeah, it's been a really busy summer, actually. We've almost, I think we could almost call it a tour. And we played our first gig outside Oxfordshire a few weeks back in Brackley. And but it's been really exciting summer. And we only released our first single last November. And we've put out about 4 since, and we're putting a lot more live stuff on YouTube now, but we put a lot of work into the videos. Antonio, our singer, is an absolute genius at production and video production. So he does incredible work with our videos. So they're all on YouTube. So take a look. Or we've got a website where everything is gathered. So if you go to lunarkites.com, you can find all of our latest stuff there, including our gig dates. And we've got more gigs coming up, actually. Which I can.
Yeah, please do rattle off. Please go for it.
Well, I can reveal that on I think it's just been confirmed that I think it's the 29th of November. We're going to be playing the O2 Academy in Oxford. So that is very exciting as part of the Oxford City Festival. So very excited about that.
Oh, that is absolutely amazing, and it's really quite like refreshing, because the band is still quite wet behind the ears. Like, this is, here we are, 2025, 2023, the ad goes out and what have you, getting the band together, first EP sort of back in November and what have you. Everything kind of feels and seems very fresh and exciting and new, which, that must be a real buzz as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like we're at the start. It really does feel like we're at the start, and it's all really gathering pace. So yeah, I'm so excited about where we're going to go, and the audience is starting to build. And you mentioned the Doctor Who thing. We did it was a kind of Doctor Who gig, a themed gig that was marking a Doctor Who anniversary here in Oxfordshire, in the village of East Hagbourne, where Doctor Who was filmed in the 70s.
Yeah.
And we had like 100 people turn up, and it was like one of our biggest audiences ever, and it was a really exciting thing to do. Great fun. Great fun.
Amazing. Well, look, we're going to play Interstellar Shout now. Tell us a little bit about this, and why we sort of landed on this theme to play from the last EP.
Yeah, so this was our first single that we released last year, and the inspiration for Interstellar Shout, so it wasn't really science fiction, this was more hard science. So Interstellar Shout is all about the Voyager 2 space probe, which was launched in the sort of about 1977, I think it was. Anyway, it's the second farthest most object made by humans that's ever existed, and it's gone out of the solar system. And there was an incident last year. There was a news story that inspired me, and NASA lost contact with it. And had to send this sort of message as part of through the Deep Space Network to correct its course so they could still talk to it. And that was called an interstellar shout. So they sent this interstellar shout. They managed to correct the course of Voyager 2, and now they can still speak to it, even though it's so far away. So I found that very inspiring, and this song was the result.
That's amazing. I mean, that's an amazing story for what I would have looked at as a sort of interstellar. Have you turned it on and off again? Answer to it at all. But there we go. That's a huge disservice to what is an amazing song. Tim, it's been really great catching up with you and finding out about the band. And this is why we do this here at Get Radio for Band Week. It is to have these conversations, to introduce people to new bands, to introduce them to new sounds, to new info. It's been a real great pleasure catching up with you. Thanks so much for joining us this morning, Tim.
Thanks, Rich.